What's up? What's going on? This is the George on Tap show. As always, brought to you by Underdog. Use promo code on tap and receive up to a 50% bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000 US. I'm going to show you guys Underdog here to start off the show. Underdog is a great place for player props and player bets. We built out on our Sports on Tap betting show. Josh Allen, the gimme over just a half a yard. Curtis Samuel, 18.5 receiving yards higher. Tyreek Hill just to score a touchdown, and James Cook, 86.5 rushing and receiving yards lower. On Underdog, use promo code on tap to receive up to a 50% bonus on your first deposit. This is going to be a fun week of NFL football, and make sure you use our promo code so you can bet on some fun games. All right, what's on tap? Let's start off with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Wow. It's going to take me a long time to not say Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Aaron Rodgers and the New York Football Jets. I know that no one calls him that, but I'm calling him that. Rodgers played his first full game with the Jets. I mean, God, it feels like we haven't seen Aaron Rodgers play a full game in a long time because we have not seen Aaron Rodgers play a full game in a long time. And it started off hot. Aaron Rodgers was just dynamite to start the game. They went down. They scored a touchdown. They had a 7-3 lead after one quarter. And I even tweeted, Aaron Rodgers is so back. I was right. The older Aaron Rodgers is back. What do I mean by that? He was eye rolling. He looked frustrated. He looked like he didn't want to talk to people. There's a clip on the sideline with him and Nathaniel Hackett, and he was trying to talk to him, and he's just like looking away. Doesn't even want to be a part of the conversation. That is what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. He's always been like this. Nothing new. And it's pretty sad, right? When things are going good with Aaron Rodgers is a guy who is very easy to get along with. When things are going bad with Aaron Rodgers is a very difficult person to get along with. The eye rolling, I think it was Lazard dropped the pass and he was just like eye rolling. His body language has always been a little bit disastrous. And I've turned on Aaron Rodgers. I used to say Aaron Rodgers was annoying and seems like not the best guy. And, he has problems with so many people. He's not a bad dude. I actually like Aaron Rodgers. His interviews are compelling. Politics aside, kind of like his politics. I think Aaron Rodgers gets it. His body language is so horrible. After the hot first drive, he ended up the game 13 for 21, 167 yards, a touchdown and a pick with a QBR of just 51.1 and a rating of 82.8. I know it was in garbage time, but Tyrod Taylor looked better than he did. It was just garbage time, but it doesn't really matter. I've been so high on Garrett Wilson, and he was targeting Wilson and Lazard the whole game. 11 targets and 9 targets. He didn't really trust anyone else, and I think that's a big problem. If you look at through the targets, 9 for Lazard, one of them, the second touchdown came from Tyrod Taylor. 11 targets for Garrett Wilson, 6 targets for his running back, Breece Hall, who also kind of got the stink eye from Aaron Rodgers after he dropped the pass. A target for Braylon Allen and 2 for Tyler Conklin. He wasn't willing to spread the love, spread the ball, spread the positivity. A lot of legends end in bad ways. And that's my concern here. Could Aaron Rodgers' career just end on a sour note? You'd hope not. He's a legend. He's great. He's Aaron freaking Rodgers. Maybe one of the most talented people to ever throw a football in history of this planet. I'm not even going to say maybe. He is one of the most talented players to ever throw a football on this planet. And instead, eye roll here, frustration here. it seems like with Rodgers, it's always everyone else's fault but his. And that's the biggest problem. I think maybe we were too high on the New York Jets. And let's be frank, they are the New York Jets for a reason. The Jets have been the Jets their whole existence. And the Jets are playing Jets football. They have a chance to turn it around. If you look through their schedule, I think they're going to be on primetime quite a bit. But, a dose of the Titans, Patriots, Broncos, Vikings can fix a lot of problems. And all of a sudden, we're talking about a 4-1 team. We really could be talking about the Jets being 4-1, but it's a smokescreen. The 49ers were without Christian McCaffrey. And they still dominated the game. They look like a team. The 49ers, once again, look like a team that could go to the Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl. The Jets sure did not look like they belong on the field with the 49ers, and I think that's the biggest problem here. Doesn't mean that I don't think they could rescue their season. Doesn't mean I might be even overreacting a little bit. But when there's foxhole guys, right? When things are going bad, you want someone to put your arm around you and say, we're getting out of this, man. I mean, there's guys who pout and this sucks. And that's what Aaron Rodgers is. He's not a foxhole guy. Their head coach doesn't seem very good. The roster was supposedly stacked with talent. Aaron Rodgers needs a mentality shift before the season goes off the rails. What's on tap? All right. So every week on Tuesdays, we're going to do this once NFL week ends. We're going to be doing a 3 Kings, which are our 3 best quarterbacks, like ranking. It's not going to be like which quarterbacks had the 3 best weeks. It's going to be which quarterbacks right now are on my hierarchy of the 3 best teams. It's okay if Patrick Mahomes goes out and throws 3 picks next week. It's going to be really hard to take him off my 3 Kings. And Daniel Jones can come out next week and throw 17,000 touchdowns. He's not getting in my 3 Kings. Daniel Jones is not one of my 3 Kings, no matter what happens. So let's start off with our 3 Kings, and then we'll go to our 3 Stooges. Our 3 Kings, and these are never in particular order. These are just 3 Kings and 3 Stooges. My 3 Kings are Patrick Mahomes. For obvious reasons. It's Patrick Mahomes. He's the best quarterback in the NFL. He's the boogeyman for every single team. Teams want to win. Teams want to see him get beat. They ain't going to beat him. That is Patrick Mahomes. And it's just a good segue to number 2, Lamar Jackson. There's not many people on the planet who can go to Arrowhead and have the ball with a couple seconds left and throw a pass in the end zone. I know he missed a couple of them, but that last pass was on target to Isaiah Likely. Didn't get his feet in bounds, and they leave Arrowhead with a loss. He needs to get over the hump of Patrick Mahomes. There's a reason he was the MVP of the NFL last season. He's one of the only players that can go to Arrowhead and do that. I think if he could just get over the hump, like the Jordan versus the Pistons. I mean, it's Lamar versus the Chiefs. Sometimes no one gets over the hump, ever. A lot of people never got over the Jordan hump. It didn't make them horrible players. Karl Malone was still an all-time great. Charles Barkley was an all-time great. Clyde Drexler was an all-time great. Gary Payton, Sean Kemp. You see my jersey behind me. They're great players too. Could they get over the Jordan hump? John Stockton. They never got over the Jordan hump. Patrick Ewing never got over the Jordan hump. Doesn't mean they're not legends, but they're just not one of the greatest of all time. And that's what Patrick Mahomes is. And my third one, and it went between 2 players, I'm going to give it to CJ Stroud right now. I think CJ Stroud, everything showed that he is probably going to be one of those players at the beginning of every season. When you're going through teams, all right, Houston Texans, 9-10 wins. Houston Texans, is CJ Stroud healthy? 9-10 wins. He's that good. He's in the upper echelon of quarterbacks. Of course, Josh Allen was probably part of this as well. Like he was the fourth one on this. But CJ Stroud just edges it by this much. CJ Stroud to me is a little bit better. CJ Stroud's a little more tough. CJ Stroud is a player that I think can lead NFL franchises and lead NFL teams to 10, 11 wins almost each and every single year. And I think CJ Stroud right now is one of the three kings. So my three kings are Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and CJ Stroud. On to my three stooges. Daniel Jones. I mean, Jesus Christ. He's thrown more picks than touchdowns since he signed his big extension. And he throws pick sixes like he's giving out free candy. Here you go, pick six here, pick six there. I don't know what those jerseys were. They were horrid. But what the hell is Daniel Jones doing? And I feel bad for Brian Daboll. I don't think Brian Daboll's a bad head coach. But we've seen a lot of people attaching myself to this quarterback. Boom. I don't care how much they paid him. They need to go to the backup. I think it's Drew Lock right now. Daniel Jones is broken. And he had one good season. He has a beard now. Oh, yay. Nah, Daniel Jones is just not it. All right, Will Levis. I think the Titans probably could have punted the ball over and over and over and over and over again the whole entire game and won. But the turnovers, the decision making, I mean, he's fearless. I'll give him some credit. He doesn't mind standing out there and making throws and getting hit. He's Will Levis, though, and he's just not very good. The Titans are going to be one of the worst teams in the league within that quarterback. And third one, it was him or the other guy. And the two people were Bryce Young and Deshaun Watson. I'm giving it to Deshaun Watson this week because not only is he a stooge on the field, he's a stooge off the field. You know, sometimes you can feel bad for people when their career gets derailed. And you could say that, you know, maybe who knows about all these allegations of how many of them are real and how many are false. I've always been the type of guy that says if someone has one allegation on him, like maybe, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Two allegations, I kind of raise an eyebrow and say this is probably true. We're on like 20-something allegations now. It's a sad story, but it's not sad. I'm not sad for him. I am sad that his dad passed away. I'm sorry about that. Just 3 days ago. But Deshaun Watson is just horrible. And so is Bryce Young, by the way. Like, I was hoping one of these quarterbacks, Jones or Levis or Deshaun played good enough so I could put Bryce Young on this. Bryce Young, you are not safe. You are one of the four stooges, if there was a four stooges list. Luckily, we do a three stooge list here. Three stooges. I cannot believe how bad he is. Bryce Young, I'm talking about. But Deshaun Watson gets out on the list. So once again, my three kings are Mahomes, Jackson, and Stroud. My three stooges are simply Levis, Daniel Jones, and Deshaun Watson. Bryce Young, you're not safe, though. All right, what's on tap? Last segment of today. We're doing this on Tuesdays. Top five, bottom five. My five best teams in the NFL and my five worst teams in the NFL. And this is not, again, indication of how they played last week. This is like a power ranking. In week 16, if the Carolina Panthers, and they're not playing them, but if the Carolina Panthers happen to be playing the Chiefs in 137-0, they're not going to be on my top five. They might have had a top five performance for a week, but they're not ever going to be on my top five. So let's start off with our bottom five teams of the NFL. And these are in no particular order for the bottom five. But the worst, should I put them in order for you guys? I'll put them in order for you guys. Team number 32, the Carolina Panthers. I did this because I saw what Bryce Young is. And the good news is they probably could have the first pick and they can go get a franchise quarterback. Bryce Young is just small, bad, not good, turns over the ball too much, doesn't inspire. I mean, I feel horrible for him because all indications are he's a good dude and he just can't play football. Number 31, the Titans. Will Levis, another guy I like as a person. I like his interviews. I like his strength and his ability to stand there and take hits and his personality and his toughness and so many things I like about Will Levis, but I don't like how he plays quarterback. The Titans, I said in my last segment that they could have literally punted on 1st and 10 every single time and probably won the football game. But instead, Will Levis threw the football to players. And one of the picks, the pick 6, when he was getting tackled and just threw it up, and it was like, what the heck? I want to give the Bears defense some credit, but his decision making was horrible. Number 30, the Giants. I mean, you see a trend here, right? Bad quarterback play equals bad team. Damn, Daniel Jones sucks. Number 29, the Raiders. I almost feel like there's like 3 teams here that are really bad. And then the next 2 on this list, you guys have some hope. You might not be as bad as I'm making you feel. The Raiders, you lost to Harbaugh in his opener. No shame in that. I just don't think Gardner Minshew is a franchise starting quarterback. He can maybe come in for a week or 2, give a change of pace, change up things a little bit. But in general, nah, not the guy. And then I guess, what is that, 32, 31, 30, 29, 28. The Broncos, I guess. Man, I had a really hard time finding the 5th worst team. There's a lot of teams I could have put on there, but some of those teams I thought would probably be on this list ended up having better performances. The Broncos don't inspire me. Sometimes also, like, let's say Sean Payton, right? We've seen coaches in their second stop, and they're like, next act, just not succeed. Maybe that's what's going to happen to Sean Payton. Bo Nix, I know he didn't, like, his stats didn't look good at all, but I thought, like, I watched the whole game because I'm a Seahawks fan, and he looked all right to me. I think he'll be all right, and I don't know if they're going to be on this bottom 5 team list for long, but right now they're there. All right, so our top 5 teams. We're going to go from 5 to 1. We're going to start off number 5, the Houston Texans. I thought they would have a little bit of a down year, second year. Like, I've always been a believer some of these teams have one good year, one bad year, like one really good year, surprise, a little bit of a dip, and then come back. That Colts team looks actually pretty good. And that division in general, I think you have 3 teams that could be good with Jacksonville, the Colts, and the Texans. But the Texans look like a team that's ready to challenge for a Super Bowl. Stephon Diggs started off with 2 touchdown catches, which is pretty cool for him. It's a good story. CJ Stroud looks like he's not going to miss a beat from his rookie year to his second season. And I just like this Texans team. Number 4, the Ravens. Baltimore, there's no shame in going to Kansas City and losing on the last second play where Isaiah likely pulled a Kevin Durant and his toe was on the line. Now, can they get past the boogeyman Chiefs? I don't know. It's going to be really hard to. It seems like that's their kryptonite. It's Lamar's kryptonite, but it's everyone's kryptonite. But I am not a guy who sits here and say, oh, you have 1 loss. This is not a record, right? And the top 5 teams is not like 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. This team's 0-1. They're going to have a chance to get out of it. And I think the Ravens are still a good team. Number 3, the Cowboys. That was a performance. A couple of things about the Cowboys here. 1, Dak Prescott gets a little bit of extra hate for no reason. He's actually a very good quarterback. not saying he's the best quarterback in the NFL or anything like that, but he's a perennial top 10 quarterback. He makes all the throws. He's a leader. He has a lot of intangibles. And Jerry Jones decided before the game, let's just end all the drama before the season starts, re-sign him, give him $60 million a year. You're not going to find a quarterback in the draft that's next year guaranteed that's going to give you the production that Dak does. You're not going to be able to trade for a quarterback that will give you the production that Dak does. You're not going to be able to sign a free agent like Dak. If you have a good enough quarterback, you re-sign that good enough quarterback. A couple more things about the Cowboys. Mike McCarthy. We want to hit on him too. 12 wins. And this year, their defense looks legit. Their offensive plays look legit. And Jerry Jones. I've been critical. There's a lot of things to be critical of Jerry Jones. But he's changed in one way and one way only. He used to be a guy who was quick to make decisions. I'm firing this head coach quickly. He's not doing good enough and chasing him out of town. He stuck with Jason Garrett for the long run and looked for stability. And now with Mike McCarthy, there have been calls that he's going to get fired. Looks like Dak Prescott's and Jerry Jones is about the stability. Re-sign Dak, bring in CeeDee Lamb. He will get a Micah Parsons deal done at some point. Mike McCarthy, you won 12 games 2 seasons in a row. Run it back. Cowboys, I think, are going to be really good. And I think the Cowboys are going to win the NFC East. And the Cowboys are going to have a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Number 2, the 49ers. That was a performance on Monday Night Football. A team that was locked in, ready to roll, wanting to show the world that, hey, we lost in the Super Bowl last year, we're back. Then before the game, we hear Christian McCaffrey's out, which, by the way, they might be in trouble because Jordan Mason said he knew since Friday he was starting, but that's a different story for a different day. But the 49ers came in, took care of business, looked just as good as they have every single season for the last X amount of seasons. I think in general, they're a team that is really good. They're going to be right in the mix. Their head coach is elite. He hasn't won this big game yet, the Super Bowl, but he could. And number 1, the Chiefs. What do you want me to say? Defending Super Bowl champs, best team, added weapons. Last year was a year to beat the Chiefs. That's when they were vulnerable. They ain't so vulnerable anymore. God, they have weapons. Xavier Worthy is a toy for Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Rashee Rice looks like a legit number 1 wide receiver. Travis Kelce can find it in the back of his mind to come out and do stuff and score like when he needs to. And they have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. The best head coach in the NFL right now is Andy Reid. The best quarterback in the NFL right now is Patrick Mahomes. You have that combination year in and year out. You're going to be vying for Super Bowls. And that's exactly what the Kansas City Chiefs are doing. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. This has been the Sports on Tap, What's on Tap, George on Tap show. I think I'm just going to say that every time from now. But it's just the Sports on Tap show, but with me, George on Tap, giving you the daily update on what's going on in sports. I hope you enjoyed. As always, this show has been brought to you by Underdog. Please use promo code ONTAP to get a big bonus on your first deposit. And not just that, a gimme play of a week, which is weekly for Thursdays. Josh Allen, just over a half a passing yard using promo code ONTAP. All right, guys, thank you for watching. My name is George on Tap, and we'll see you guys next time.